Really hard sell for me to make this video because I had to do a lot of soul searching here in the last couple years, and you know, your last 10 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Have been plagued more recently than anything, which is actually kind of funny because the best decks have just kind of come out in the last. Burning Abyss at its time was, I would say, more powerful than Goki, and you're probably like, he just actually, like, the amount of mirrors that had to be played that took 2 hours. I always remember that ARG and just talking to Jim being a lot more than your other standard archetypes. But let's be honest here, your other decks, but let's call it what it is, ladies and gentlemen. I do think that Dante, this deck, did so much out there. Now, number 4 on our list, I gotta give it to Sky Striker here. Like Spellbook of Judgment, we have multi-roll, which gives you access to reset multiple gauge. And the thing that they missed with Spellbooks, they kind of incorporated into this deck, which was they gave you an armada of armaments. I think it also gives you a draw function as well. Isn't that crazy? Oh, Judgment over here, that just the amount of spellbooks you activate, which a Jowgen backed with a Spellbook of Fate is the opponent's got Spellbook of Wisdom backed up to make their monster immune. So you can't even Dark Hole it. Alright? Literally, you're forced into this Kaiser Coliseum-esque situation where if your normal summon cannot deal with this, you're done. Now, obviously, you had other options. You could try to dual chain on the thing. You could Book of Moon it, try to get it face down on top of the, you know, you have to have 2 baits here. So you have to bait the Wisdom out, and you have to chain the Book of Moon onto it or compulse it or something. That's what you had to deal with Spellbooks. And I do play Spellbook of Judgment higher because of the immediate value that you get out of the card. Also, the Spellbook engine, literally, Sky Strikers and Spellbooks are the same deck. Spellbook of Judgment is literally multi-roll and engage, split apart into 2 separate cards. Who would have guessed that Spellbook of Judgment was a good card? I don't know. Oh man, for the format that they released that card, it was stupid. Now, number 2 on our list here goes to Zoodiac. You're probably like, wow, really? Out of everything that we've had in the game, you're going to tell me that Zoodiac is the second best deck in the last 10 years. Yeah, it is. The entire archetype being able to overlay on top of itself. The fact that you had the ability to unsummon, discard, draw. You had the ability to Rat Peer, which gave you the ability to extend out more copies and make more copies of the Ixies. The fact that Whiptail was one of the best damn cards in this game, by the way. So you just make Dryden, end phase pop something, your opponent attacks on your guy, you reveal the Whiptail in your hand. You're like, ah, sorry about that guy. Like, let me remove your monster for free. Oh, by the way, I also got a pop. Dryden is a crazy card, and in its own archetype at 100%, also the fact that you like have the heroic card that like gains 600 attack for every material on it, and then you're also able to deal double battle damage to your opponent. It's just something I recently saw in a tournament. Somebody was playing it for fun. This was a made-up format. I was like, man, we actually were abusing that at that time. Like, ugh. But 3600 triple Whiptail, 1600 with the piercing guy, Rat Peers. This deck at 100% was scary. Also, this deck underwent the most evolutions in the game's history, literally surviving an entire rule change in the game's history just to evolve and be this ugly creature that was like, oh yeah, Daigusto Emerald, lol. What's Link format? Oh man, I will always give it to Zoo. I think that Zoo was probably one of the coolest and craziest decks we've ever actually had in the game. Like, and it's the only deck that really I've seen contend with the first seat deck next to number 3. And best archetype of the year, Century, Eternity, goes to Dragon Ruler. Thanks for watching. Alright, so Dragon Ruler, being able... It wasn't Dragon Ruler themselves that really broke them, it was their interactions with everything else. You got this Super Rejuvenation build that was like, let me draw my deck. And you're just like, oh, these are all mine now. You had Exodia variants. You had the stupid mirror. You Blaster, Redox, Tempest, and Tidal were really, they all should have been allowed to be played in their respective attributes. But the problem was we made them interactable with each other. Oh, then we made the fucking babies. The stupid babies that you could discard and just be able to revive for no reason, by the way. I just want to point that out, that the babies made the Dragon Rollers bonkers. And then you had the ability just to spam out these multiple monsters from the graveyard. You had Super Rejuvenation for your draw power. You had Crimson Blader for the mirror match. I hate Dragon Rollers with a passion. But if we could be civil and errata them and make them not able to work with each other, we could have something here. I miss Redox, but Redox caused more problems for the game than the other Dragon Rollers, I'll be honest with you. Redox was the bad guy that caused a lot of infinite loops in this game. Hi, Grand Soil. So glad you got your errata, buddy. And then you, yeah, Redox was a troublesome card in a lot of loops. Those are the top 5 archetypes for the last 10 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please leave a comment down below to make you guys think. I'd like to hear your guys' opinions. And well, I'm out, guys. Peace. The ride never truly ends. Thank you, patrons, for helping support the channel. Without you guys, I don't know if I'd still be doing this. And for those of you that like Cardfight Vanguard, FanCool40 is here for all your content needs. And those of you asking if I sell cards, mcoolgames.com for all your trading card game needs. Check the description for more interesting info. Thanks for watching, guys.